Good evening and welcome along to another episode of Tannadice Tales with Dundee United. We're back for part 8 today and we've got a bumper evening in store. We've definitely got 4 league games to show you and potentially a League Cup final as well. We'll see how we do time-wise and how we're feeling in terms of festive treats because we've got Celtic twice. So my thoughts was either we finish on the Cup final tonight as our last bit before Christmas from this save, or we start the first one after Christmas on Sunday morning with a double header against Celtic. But we'll come to that later. We've got 4 league games first, and I suspect our form in those will be a bit more important. Dylan, good evening, welcome along. Thank you to everyone who was waiting already. L Gaming, same as well. Thank you for all being here already. A record number waiting, a record number of likes before we started. So thank you all for popping in. I'm not too bad. I hope you're all well as well. Of course, for many people, school, college, uni, it's the winter break now, isn't it? Work-wise, teachers, things like that will have it off. But unfortunately, for many of us, we're still in till Christmas Eve. So we will get by. But thank you for coming along. I hope you're all well. And of course, this is the last stream before Christmas now. We'll definitely have one on Sunday morning as normal. That'll be the 27th. And of course, the daily content continues in between. We'll have Luton every day this week, the Christmas series. And in 3:30 every day, the 2 long-term stories every day apart from Christmas Day. So lots to look forward to this winter. And I've got to say already, the next 2 head coaches are crackers. And they're from Scotland as well. So it's all good to be here. Thank you to everyone coming along. We're almost at double figures in the first minute. And we've got 4 massive games. As you remember, we finished the last episode sort of a little bit frustrated, really. We had Aberdeen and St Johnstone, which didn't go great. We nicked to win at Hamilton in the league and sneaked through the Cup semi-final on pens. We then, off-camera, battered St Mirren 5-1, Shanklin with 2, Bolton, Sporrell and McNulty with 1 apiece, and then got battered by Livingston. A 4-0 defeat, and look who scored 3 of them. Alan Forrest, a superstar across the road at Dundee in our head coach series. And he wiped the floor with us. He got a hat-trick, and it could have been more in truth. So not the best result there, and we are out of the Scottish Cup as a result. But unfortunately, that's the end of the road in that competition. It's not too bad because we're in the League Cup final, of course, and we're flying in the league. And for our first season back in the top flight, we'll certainly take that. So thank you to everyone coming along. Lovely to see loads of the regulars in. Raven, I got my iron brew. It's all good. That used to be our drink of choice for the podcast when we used to be able to, prior to March, go and do the Friday night live there. Charlie's Lounge, a selection of whatever chocolates were £1. And a big bottle of Iron Brew or Iron Brew Extra. That was always the way. So yeah, for everyone, Merry Christmas if you are popping in for a short while today. Craig, thanks for popping in. Dylan, I can't believe we've done 3 seasons of FM in 3 days. Now my 4th season with Wigan. That is pretty impressive at that time. Free Gold, hello, welcome along. Good to have you all in. Hello, L Gaming. Yes, same again. Charlie's in as well. As a Luton fan, how do you feel? Do you feel bad selling players from your own club? Almost like you've cheated on them in real life? No. It's strictly business, Charlie, when you're a manager. You have to do that, don't you? The L Gaming's asked a pretty controversial question just below it. The thing is, in this save, for example, where we picked up a couple of Luton players, they're ones they were transfer listing and offering to us and that popped up in the scout reports. They're not ones that we've actively gone and said, let me go and raid all your players. When I'm Luton, the thing I find hardest, and the reason I don't do long-term stories with Luton, is that when I am them, I find it hard to let go the players that have been there, or the players that are my favourites. So like, if I did a long-term story with Luton now, James Collins would be playing in the Premier League at 37, because I wouldn't be able to sell him. So that's sort of where I am with that. But in terms of being other clubs and Luton players popping into scouts, no worries, because they're normally ones that Luton don't want to keep. But yeah, being them themselves, I could never do it for a long-term story. That's not to say we couldn't end up there many years down the line in the head coach when there's no real players left. So L Gaming's asked, are you enjoying Dundee or Dundee United more? Now that's a controversial question. I wouldn't say I'm enjoying either of them more because I'm actually loving both of them. And Dundee's becoming one of my favourite footballing cities now. What I will say on it though is that the head coach this year, and I can already tell it, is going to be my favourite series ever. So that's probably going to be part of it. But the Dundee United save I've loved so far. And I've got some Luton players here, which makes it special. So I honestly couldn't separate them. And that's not just to not get in trouble. I genuinely couldn't. Craig, yes, superb question. And you're not going to like the answer because I know what you're like. L Gaming, yeah, the same. You kind of feel bad doing it with Wrexham players. Andrew, welcome along. Thank you for popping in. Welsh International back four coming up at Luton. Yes, so Norrington Davis there for the year. Lockyer doing the same. We've got Morel in centre midfield as well. Craig, how much longer do you think Gareth Southgate's needing to have a look at James Justin? He'll be in the next friendly squad. If he's still playing well, I'm certain of it. Because a lot of the others are flat to deceive this season. So if we want to potentially get the cup final in, we better get rolling through these games today. We've all just come off the end of a beating, at the Tony Macaroni Arena, one of my favourite stadium names in the UK. And now we're off to Fir Park. Hail and 3 degrees, not what we were looking for. I think Tyrick Mitchell's still out, and Motherwell, just about our closest challengers, 15 points away. You'd imagine third's wrapped up now. But if you look at that league table, you can see it's best of the rest and nothing else. So what I'd really like is just to get at least a draw in this game, just to make sure of it. Then we've got Ross County away. We can get revenge at home to Livingston. And it's actually, up until that sort of mid-season point, it's not a bad little run until the cup final. Then we've got all the horror shows, the Celtic Rangers. That's where it's going to go wrong. So I might not want all of them at once on Sunday. But we'll see how we get to the cup final. And if we're feeling good and we're in good form and there's still plenty of you here, we might well show it this evening. Thank you for everyone being so active in the chat as well. Great to be in double figures within a couple of minutes of starting. And we're almost there on likes as well. So if you haven't yet, please chuck a thumbs up on it. Of course, the latest episode of Bangor today, things took a little bit of a turn. Not in a positive way either. And the next couple of episodes from each are just... they're some of my favourite content for very different reasons. So I'm really enjoying it. And your support this season's been great. And of course, we're on the race to 2,000 now as well, which seems ridiculous given the fact that we had 1,300 6 weeks ago when the new game came out. And we're now just a matter of 60 odd subscribers away from 2,000. It's remarkable. So thank you for your support. 3 goals, you've started a save with Wrexham. There you go. I had to sell that centre-back L Gaming. See. I bet you'll still get... as long as you got the sell on. You've seen from all of my long-term stories before. Get the 50% sell on and you're safe. Charlie, do you like and agree with league splits? I'm not a massive fan of them, to be honest. I kind of get the reasoning for it. And it does make sense to an extent. But it's not my cup of tea. Dylan, I've signed Mandzukic on a free to partner Gelhardt. Hopefully get me promoted to the Premier League. It's an interesting approach. So you got Gelhardt back at Wigan. That's good to see. We couldn't get him when we were doing the beta save, even after the Tycoon takeover. Finished 8th last season and missed out on the playoffs by 4 points. That's not a bad effort though. Fair play. Macca, good evening. Thank you for popping in. Do appreciate it there. L Gaming, yeah, the same. The league splits, there's mixed arguments for it. It could be a long one. Maybe we'll have to do a podcast on it. I think we did it right back at the start. It wasn't very good, so we can revisit it. Maybe in a live stream. We're trying to start them up with a podcast early next year, so we might do one there. 3 gold, I'm quite new to the game and there is a lot to do. They seem to have a decent young squad and some leaders. No, that's fair enough. The Wrexham squad, they did a big overhaul in the summer in real life, so they've got a good squad. But I think you just need a little bit of depth in the right positions to balance it up. There's no reward for the 7th place team. But that's the thing I find hardest about these league splits, is like in Northern Ireland and in Wales, the team in 7th, depending on the cups, can still then be in the qualifying playoffs for the European slot, the last one. So that's where it gets a bit messy for me. Michele, welcome along. Thanks for popping in again. Don't mind the league split, especially if you're a smaller league with a few big fish in a small pond. Yeah, that is where it benefits you. So the same for us when we were with Bangor coming back up. The same for Cliftonville, I guess, in the early stages. They have benefited us in those fronts. And of course, the head coach is another prime example where that could be the case. Yeah, that's it, Craig. So 7th could get more points than 6th or 5th, but they've played easier games and then they get good momentum going into the European qualifying playoff. So that's where it can get a little bit dicey. For example, the Greek League, Belgian League gets really good in the split. Yeah, there's plenty of leagues where it works really well. It used to, in the old day, be brilliant in Scotland with Celtic and Rangers. It used to be quite good in Wales with TNS Bangor. And it can be great in Northern Ireland, although Linfield have run away with it the last couple. Red Dragons, 3rd oldest club in the world. There you go. Craig, potentially a live stream, plus me and Charlie are demanding more commentary. Well, if I end up bottling it to a playoff final in our network save, there might well be more commentary from Craig and Charlie on this channel. But live streams next year on the podcast, I won't promise a month or anything, but at some point in 2021, there will be one. Craig, did you find why I liked Sean Bernard? Oh dear, not this again. L Gaming, if you did a live stream, I'd probably flow in with questions. But that's what we like, particularly when we're doing a football one. And that's probably the thing that's worried us the most, because if you're doing a football podcast and you're doing a live stream on a smaller channel, having the preparation in case you don't get a lot of questions and things, so you can still talk for half an hour, 45 minutes. That's the hardest thing to do. So we're going to have to be careful with that. But we're really looking forward to it. It just needs this edge of the pandemic to be over. I also forgot to tell you the last bit of transfer news in January. So Peter Pawlett went out. He went to Accrington. I think that happened in the last episode. Jamie Robson asked for a loan deal. He's gone to St Johnstone to play there. And we've brought in young Reece Devine from Man United on loan. He's 2-star ability. He's very much a backup. But he'll do a job if we need him. It's small wages and it's not much to the team. Not much of a cost to the club. We're happy enough. So I think in terms of lineup, I know this is a bit risky because this is largely the side we played against Livingston. But I think we're going to stick similar. So, O'Reilly was an unused sub. He's come back in. The only one I'm worried about is Luke Bolton because he was shocking then. So I might bring Duffy in on the right and then play someone else on the left. But I'm having to play Spurrell left back because of Mitchell. It's all those little things that are just making it a bit harder. But that's the 11 we're going for. Let's get into it. We've still got our front two. And that can win us most games. We'll give Devine a squad number. He's got 23. Let's crack on. Especially if we want to get this cup final in. I'll catch up with the chat while that's loading up. Yes, he did score against me in the podcast network series. So you've got that one right. Okay, I forgot to mention before, I was born in the UK, but I was named after my grandfather, hence why I have the name. That's really interesting. I like that. We used to play football on Sunday League. We had a player called Michele there. He was a proper Italian, a good holding midfielder as well. But he was a lovely bloke. So it's a name I've come across a couple of times. But I love the little backstories like that. They're always the fun things. You know, like I can't remember the one. Was it Simone Perotta? The old Italian international when he was born in Manchester and the story behind that. The little things like that I love. But I'm a football coach in real life for the Juventus Academy. Wow. That's impressive. What age group do you coach at for them? 3 gold. Wrexham looked like a nice easy starter save for newbies. Yeah, there's a few National League clubs that are quite good for it this year, to be honest. There's a couple of options that I quite like down there. Dagenham did well in the summer investment-wise. There's a couple of the bigger clubs, obviously, the likes of Notts County. Torquay are doing well under Gary Johnson. Chesterfield are a club you can easily improve. And Michael Duffy's got a pulled hamstring. Not quite what we were hoping to end that with. We're up against Callum Lang again, of course, who was a bit of a hero for us with the Wigan beta streams. So Duffy wants to stay on, but injury affecting him. I'm not going to do it. We need everyone fit. Logan Chalmers on the left. And we'll just try and hold on, because the cup game's more important, and we need him back for that. Let me catch up with the chat quickly. Craig, L Gaming, I'll watch it tonight. Don't you come and taunt me after it, though. Wrexham have the oldest international stadium in the world. That is something I have come up before. Back to the Super Tangerines. Yeah, I don't really watch much of the games now because the chats are so active. Till the second screen comes in. Nezov, welcome from Croatia again. Lovely to see you in for the second time. Do appreciate it. Giuseppe Rossi was my idol growing up with him as well. He was such a good talent. It's such a shame he had injury troubles because he could have been anything. I remember we went to a game at the... I'm trying to remember what game it was. And he scored a hat-trick. I can't remember for the life of me what the game was. I just have this vivid memory of him scoring a hat-trick at a live game. Under 15s. Fairly high up the level there. How did you get into that role? Is it something you've done a long time? Have you worked at other clubs, for other clubs before? I get to ask the questions back now. I get to turn into the interviewer. That's the bits I like. O'Reilly tries to go long over the top here. Unfortunately, it is intercepted. To be honest, it's been a bit of a nothing game, but I fancy Motherwell on the break to maybe nick it, because they do look a bit more threatening. Cole into O'Hara, lovely overlap to O'Donnell, the former Luton man, gets to the byline, cuts it back to Cole, into Long, and there's the goal. 1-0 Motherwell, and unfortunately, We're a little bit depleted at the back in particular, and it's that left side of ours where it's come down. It has been an even game, but it's just not to be at the minute. Craig's involved with the club. Yes, Charlie left in the summer because he was obviously, him and his wife were having a baby. So it's a fair reason, to be fair. Dylan, I sold Lang for 12 million. See, for us, I know in the beta series, we didn't really get consistency out of him. He had some great games and he scored a couple of very important goals. But he had a couple of really long goal droughts as well. But without that takeover, we wouldn't have even got him back. So we've got to be pleased enough with it. We've still just about edged the stats here, but it's not really working out for us. It's been a bit of a bizarre game. Apologies if I'm gradually sinking as well. The chair's on its last legs and it's only a few days to Christmas, so I might just be bobbing up and down by the end of it. As long as it doesn't collapse completely, we're happy. Here's O'Reilly to Chalmers though, a chance to get on terms. If we can nick a draw like we said at the start, it'd be a very good result here. Chalmers in the box, evades the challenge, Shankland in! That's a stunning save from Carson. Tips it onto the woodwork. And they've managed to survive. Still 1-0 to Motherwell. But they're hanging on for dear life. As Sporrel's corners in, Shankland up. And his header straight at Carson, unfortunately. Biggest clubs in the league. I don't know if you can put Stockport. I'd say Stockport are level with Wrexham, to be fair. Because Stockport were a big club. I know for you, because you're a bit younger. But Stockport, when we were 7, 8, 9, they were in the Championship in League One with Luton. So, for me, they're a big club. You know, don't forget, they were bigger than Man City at one stage then. In terms of on the pyramid. Right, let's catch up here. Giuseppe Rossi could have won the Ballon d'Or if he didn't get injury. I agree. Fiorentina Juventus, fair enough. I've been coaching for 2 years and did my... No, it was an English game. It must have been like an under-21 international or something for Italy. It was definitely an international match. It would have been in England regardless. And I don't think it was United. So it must have been England. It must have been Italy under-21s. Where he was brilliant. He scored goals. Because there was the one game where Pizzini... Was it Pizzini, wasn't it, who scored the goals? And then there was another one where Rossi scored, I'm sure. I'll look it up after. I've been coaching for 2 years. They did my scouting certificates for the PFSA, so they were impressed by individual and team analysis. That's brilliant. It's lovely to know that you can make it in. That's the good thing. And that's the sort of thing you need, is that bit of hope for people. I'm going to bring on Josh Clark on the right wing. I'm going to try and make a few of these changes now. Smith at right back's been poor as well, so Pearson on for him. Up front, McNulty's coming into a bit of a drought, but I don't want to take him off. So we'll do O'Reilly for Houghton. And we've got one more left, which we'll come to in 5 or 10 minutes. But so far, we're unlucky not to be level, because we have dominated the game. So we're going to fire the lads up, see if we get anything out of it. I'll replace Fuchs with Ray. It's my final one. But I don't think it's going to come, is it? 5 minutes to go. Let's go attacking. But I think Motherwell have wrapped it up 1-0. Let me catch up with the chat again as we do that. What failed wonder kid would you have liked to see make it? It's a great question. I'm trying to think of some of the best ones. I mean, I think the obvious one is seeing everyone who used to talk about Ravel Morrison, if he'd made it to his best. I guess from a football manager point of view, for the purist point of view, I'd say Freddie Adu, obviously, because he was the first one I remember. Duffy's out for 2 to 3 weeks, so he won't play again before the final, I don't think. But yeah, I'd probably say Adu, because he was in that first football manager that I got. And he was an absolute star, so it would have been great to see him. So that's probably my choice. I guess it will partly depend, football manager-wise, on the generation people are from. Charlie, I saw Giuseppe Rossi play for United v Real Madrid under-19 tournament. He was unplayable, yeah. Renato Sanchez. Yeah, but to be fair, he's starting to make a comeback now. He's doing really well in France. Or is it France he was doing well? What country is it? I'm all over the place today. Let me have a look at Renato Sanchez. It was only the other day. Yeah, it is. It was Lille. He's doing really well there. It looks like he's going to be on his way to Liverpool in January, Renato Sanchez. So I'm hoping he'll do well. Lang was great for me. Played him left wing 4-3-3. Yeah, we sort of had him in a mix of the free roles at Wigan, mainly due to a small squad in the first half of the season. He just sort of fell out of favour a bit after that. It's the London Academy for Juventus. Basically, we go in the summer to Turin to face all the other academies as well. I like that sort of thing. There's academies everywhere now, isn't there? The sort of the big clubs dot them around all over the place. They can pick up the best players. It's a good business plan from that side of it. Charlie laid the foundations of how your team wants to play. Yeah, that's the spot on one. El Gaming, do you know who your first ever subscriber was? I would guess probably my other half. Because I told her to as soon as I started it. So she was probably it. Yeah, we're in tier 4, unfortunately, here. Oh, yeah, I think El Gaming meant what tier of the football pyramid, in which case they're step 7 and the first team is step 5. Charlie, I was at a tournament in Dallas and saw them there. United also had Fraser Campbell and Ryan Shawcross. Madrid had one matter. That's not a bad lineup, is it? Well, City, it was just a takeover, isn't it? It's happened to a few clubs. The same in that area. Teams like Fleetwood and that, who were miles down the pyramid. Crawley as well. They're ones that have come back. I know Crawley's from a different area. Yeah, Craig, your football suspended again. Notts County, there's no doubting. They're the biggest club in the National League at present. They're similar to when Luton were down there. I just hope they don't get stuck for as long. But a really good club. Lovely stadium. So hopefully back in the Football League soon. I think it probably, and I'll stick my neck on the line, probably will be this year now. Have you ever considered an analyst job or something football related? I'd like to, but probably not at this stage, to be honest. I quite enjoy my job and I enjoy doing this. So at the moment, there's been no real need, but it's not something I'd be against in the future. I have done one coaching badge as well, so I've got my first one from many a year back. And the same as I did the kids refereeing course back when I was 16. So I've had little stints doing those sorts of things. Yeah, Craig's been playing for ages, but him and Charlie, unfortunately, are even more injury prone than me. Sebastian Giovinco. I wouldn't say he's had a bad career though, has he? I mean, it didn't work out, but yeah. I mean, Italy produced some fantastic players, but it's the defenders that always get the praise in the end. I know Totti and Del Piero probably exceptions to that, but it's very hard to follow a lineup of Maldini, Nesta, Costa Curta, Buffon. To then go and follow that up a few years later is impossible. Let me catch up with the chat a bit longer. Yeah, it looks like Sanchez will be going to Liverpool, so probably will. Hachin Mastor, yeah, that's a good one. Emre Moore, yeah, there's a few good names there. Slightly more modern ones. Yeah, so Craig, that's that. I'm only just catching up with the chat now. I got a well behind there. Yeah, the Mastor one was a bit of a bizarre one, wasn't it? There's some players that just drop off the face of the earth. But I guess from the podcast interviews, the things we've seen is how much the mental side of it affects it. It's so much more important than the talent. I'm going to bring Mitchell back in now he's fit. Sporrell will go back into midfield. Bolton's had a couple of poor games, so I'm actually going to start Josh Clark right wing. And aside from that, we'll stick with the same tactics. So Ross County away, it's one of the ones we really should be winning, but we've had a few disappointing days on the road. Another Juventus youngster wonder kid who flopped tremendously was Boy, yeah. That's a good point. Who was the other one? He's just got back into Ajax now. Was it Labyad, I think was his name? Oh, I tell you another one. Gennaro Zeefoik. It was about 10 years ago, I think he was a youngster. He popped up in one of my saves last year. I don't think he was having a terrible career. But he was unplayable one year in this. I remember that name as well. El Gaming, you're getting so many new subs, almost 2k already. It's astonishing, really, isn't it? Absolutely mad. Giovinco went to Toronto. I believe so. Sebastian Giovinco. I don't know if he's still there. Let me go and have a look. He is at Al Hilal now. That's a bizarre one. He did really well at Toronto, to be fair, but he went very early, didn't he? So what was that, 5 years ago? He'd have been 28. Bit soon. Did well for Parma. Did okay for Juventus, but I think it was his international form that probably let him down, ironically. Half an hour gone here. This has been a really poor game. No real highlights to speak of, so I can only apologise for that. Yeah, did you see Roy Keane call football soccer at the weekend? It's a bizarre moment. You can imagine his own reaction to that, couldn't you? Yeah, it's a shame. I don't like it when players go to those leagues too young. Or even just before they've finished their peak. I mean, Jermaine Defoe went too early, then came back to the Premier League and scored goals for fun. He's right about Carl Walker. I think Carl Walker's alright. I mean, he's not one of the best players in the world, but he's a solid defender. Roy Keane is my idol, 3 gold. Wow. Tom, you've got the food questions out, and that is an absolute stinker. Mango chutney or hoisin sauce, you can only keep one. And this is going to be weird as we take the lead. And it's Matt O'Reilly, that might be his first for us, actually. I have mango chutney far more than hoisin sauce, but if you've said there's one you can never have again, I'd have to keep the hoisin, because it's one of my favourites. So, yeah, I'd keep hoisin. What about yourself? We always love the food questions. For those of you that are quite new along, food questions pop up all the time. Gomez, ex-Swansea striker. He's there as well, is he? He was a great player. For about 3/4 of a year, he tore up the Premier League. There's quite a lot of Swansea strikers like that. Michu did the same. Bonnie did the same. And then they just all fall off a cliff. I always thought Tom was on the podcast channel until a couple of months ago. No, he was on this channel. As we concede an equaliser, he was on this channel for the Review the 92 series, and hopefully next year he'll be back on as we continue. But it looks like we're getting another hiccup in the road there. I'm hoping I'll be allowed to go to some once vaccinated again, or the second dose is complete. But we'll wait and see on that. It seems to be national lockdown pending, doesn't it? Long ball out, and it looks like we're going to have to make changes here, because Ross County probably just starting to edge this. So I'm actually going to drop to balanced. I'm going to take off a couple of the wide men. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do, though. I think we'll bring on Bolton and Chalmers. We will also take off Liam Smith for Ray, and we'll swap Fuchs to right back. And then at centre-half, Reynolds replaced by Pearson, and we'll save the last one for 10 more minutes. That's what we're going to do. If we can get a lead again, we'll take Mitchell off to get him the rest after injury. Thank you for everyone coming along as well. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. I'm trying to keep up with the chat because you've been absolutely mad this evening. I do appreciate it. Yeah, the Roy Keane and Micah Richards thing's been quite interesting, hasn't it? I really do enjoy it. I don't get to see, obviously, the channel live, but a lot of the clips go up on the internet. L Gaming, don't get involved in the Arsenal, please. Hoisin sauce, surely, Tom. No competition. I'm in complete agreement with Charlie. As we score again, Mark McNulty gives us the lead, and he never has a big goal drought, does he? What happened to the food channel? To be honest, L Gaming, once this sort of blew up as soon as the new game came out, I had to prioritise that. So it will come eventually, but probably once FM quietens down now, because I never expected what's happened to happen. Richard, welcome along. Notice you're doing a Breaking save. Worst team in Scotland. Yeah, so it's not an exclusive Breaking save, but we started a head coach story. So what we do is we do a director of football challenge. No saying transfer, staffing or contracts. We're going to score again, are we? No, Chalmers loses it. And then we'll just start unemployed and go to the first club that offers us a job. And that club, this time, was Breaking. We got very lucky with the director of football we were given, but we can't argue, can we? So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's been my favourite series of FM on the channel at all, in any edition. L Gaming, pizza or pasta? Oh, that's too hard. That's too hard to answer at this time of the afternoon. Probably just pasta, because you've got more variety. You can go lasagna, you can go different dishes. I'd say pasta just. You can go pesto, you can go tomato sauce, you can go chili. So yeah, I'd say pasta, but that is intently close. As McNulty's in again, chance for 3-1 makes it 3-1. We'll go and make a last change in a minute. Let me catch up with the chat very quickly. Spot on, I eat mango chutney more often, but hoisin's undefeated. Yep, we're all the same there, I think. Salt and vinegar on chip shop chips or nothing? Salt and vinegar. Spot on. Ironically, I went to Swansea Uni and saw live all their home Europa League games. That's brilliant. It's always good having a big local side, isn't it? And that's been a really good thing with Luton the last few years. I know the way we went down was controversial, but to see 4 or 5 different leagues in the last 6-7 years has been great. 3 gold. I don't treat my players like dogs. I love my dogs. Salt and vinegar on chips, ketchup for fries. No, can't have ketchup. Not a fan of that. Got to be chili or barbecue for me. I would say Swansea are my British team. Unless they're playing against Luton, of course. What a player Michu was, although he sent my club Wigan to relegation with a last-minute winner, which meant they had to beat Arsenal away 2 days after the FA Cup final. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'll tell you another one, not Swansea related, but Amir Zaki. That half a year Unbelievable. Mido as well, the other Egyptian. Both had little spells. Michu, best one season player ever. Definitely a contender. I'd say Amizaki was up there as well. But his was more half a season. I would say Lorente was better than Michu at Swansea for what he did. Oh, importance-wise, yes. But form-wise, Michu, that 3/4 of a season was unstoppable. And they were all worried about losing a striker, and he did that. Incredible, really. Let's go and make the final change. I don't know who to take off, to be brutally honest. I think we're going to give Shankland a rest for Nicky Clark. Just give him a 10-minute. Make sure we don't get any more big injuries for the final. And hopefully we hold on. There's a throw on the right. It's lovely to see so many new faces and all the regulars in as well. I will try and keep up with this chat as best as possible. Salt and vinegar every day. No, not crisps. No, I'm not a big fan of salt and vinegar crisps, I'm afraid. I'd always go cheese and onion. Swansea and Juventus have a fan friendship. Yeah, there's a lot of weird ones like that, isn't there? Rich, as I burst onto the scene, Don King. Did you burst on the scene? Yeah, I remember that one. That was probably the first one, wasn't it? Of the big clips. And then a couple behind the dressing room. Probably close. Cheese and onion, yeah. Cheese and onion's top of the pile. I've scored a third there. We've completely missed it. Who got the goal? Anyone want to tell me? And we might be in for a fourth. McNulty scores it. Is that a hat-trick for him? I think it is. Absolutely brilliant. Richard, seen you do lives on Sunday. I keep missing that. Yeah, so that's the idea of this series. Tuesday evening at 5:30 and Sunday at 10:30. Just so everyone can keep up with at least one a week. It sort of fits around most people's schedule to make sure they can see one then. So that's the plan. And the more that enjoy it, the merrier. Yes, Wrexham is a big local side. For you, and the same for us. Luton's a big local side. Yeah, Craig would agree with Tom, wouldn't he? It's about the only thing you're going to agree on. The food side, not the football side. Dylan Zaki, when he was brought to Wigan, he was labelled the best striker in the world. And for about 10 games, he sort of threatened to be it. My friend at uni has selfies. Alberto Poloski, there's another wonder kid. What a player he was. Or very early in his career was sensational. Leon Britton, great servant for Swansea. Really good player. Favourite Luton player of all time. I said this the other week. It's probably getting close to being James Collins now. But otherwise, I'd go for Steve McNulty. Just because he was so composed in the box. And we all grew up defenders, so I'd go for him. Yeah, Craig, you're spot on about Zaki. Richard, any future save ideas? So, I mean, the only club of the live stream votes I haven't done this year is Stevenage, so I might have to find something with them. And for FM22, I'll be planning to do the one club story I wanted to do in FM21 before the pandemic. So that will be a local one from lower down the English leagues, because I haven't done that for a couple of years. The head coach will always be a staple on the channel. And as this year has proven, it can be very different every year. FM18, we ended up stuck in the non-league for a long time. In FM19, we got sacked from our first 2 jobs and had to rebuild across the UK. FM20, we sort of got the rise quite quickly, but then a slow burner in the middle. And then got to all the monster clubs at the end, which we hadn't done in FM19. And then this year, we've built up in Scotland, so it's all been very different. I'd like to get a better PC so I can do it worldwide, but realistically, that's not going to happen anytime soon. As I've said though, if we can make this part of the job in the future, long term I'd love to do 2 daily series. Okay, and I have seen a few of your Instagram bits actually. I'm still getting scripts about to use it though, so bear with me. Tom, salt and pepper chips. From that takeaway up by yours, that's it. There's nothing that beats that. I tell you what could beat that? If they gave you a hoisin dip to go with it. In fact, next time I come up, I know it's going to be many months away now. That's what we're doing. Hoisin dip with it. There's nothing that can go wrong there. Rochdale and Juventus have an excellent relationship, do they? How did that come about? I'd love to know that one. I'm trying to think whether we make these youngsters available. I think in the case of the 3 not in the squad, we can. I'm not sure we can do it with Nicky Clark because he's still on the bench every week. Have we got a game in midweek? No. So I guess we can give him 45. Because he's the one that doesn't really get on the pitch with the form of the 2 strikers. Let's have a look at the chat again. It's absolutely mad today. Thank you so much for your support with it. Norwich and Sunderland have a fan friendship, bizarrely. I wouldn't say that's a surprise. I mean, the Sunderland fans were so friendly with us when we went up with Luton. I could see them being friends with most other than their local rivals. 3-goal great win, absolutely. They're the games that we've tripped up on earlier in the season. It doesn't look like it's going to get us any closer to the top 2, but 3rd place for this season and a cup final in the League Cup as well. What an achievement. Wrexham and Chester have a superb relationship. By the way, Alberto Pawlowski was such a good finisher. I was shocked he did badly in England. Yeah, it was just wrong timing, I think, wasn't it? He was such a good youngster. I don't actually know where he is now. Let me have a look. Spal. I'm trying to think, because they've had games on our TV, Free Sports, this year, and I don't remember seeing him there. It just all went downhill, didn't it? But yeah, the Swansea one, it came at the wrong time, I think. He's 30 years of age already. That makes me feel old. He always used to score 15 a season for Chievo. Yeah, spot on. Spot on. He did well for Italy under-21s as well. He was a good player at that level. Notts County and Juventus. Yeah, that makes more sense. I was going to say Rochdale, I don't remember. Who's the one player that isn't at your club that you want to do well? For you, it's Piatek. That's a good question. I'm trying to think. Oh, well, I mean, the obvious one for us is James Justin, because he left Luton, he was a homegrown player, and he's now on the verge of the England squad flying for Leicester. From a selfish point of view, it would be Max Aarons, because the better he does and the bigger his move to Barcelona, the more of a sell-on fee Luton get. But I would say James Justin as an overall. If you wanted a player that's never been involved with Luton, I'd probably say Billy Sharp. He's someone I've always really enjoyed watching. And the way he's bounced back from the personal side and things going wrong there, I would say definitely Billy Sharp. Which isn't going well at the moment with Sheffield United. Oh, that's good. Yeah, Notts County and Juventus, that's cool. Chester are in the National League North at the moment, but they're a bigger club at that level. But they're on the rebuild, don't forget. It's the Phoenix club. Arsenal posting relegation clauses. I don't know what you're on about, Craig. Do you know the Peter Pawlett song? I do not, I'm afraid. I will look it up afterwards, though, because I'm sure it will. Will it be rude? I guess that's the main question. Will it be something I can sing on a family-friendly stream? I have a massive tip for Wrexham safe. Play Ponticelli at the front. He scores so many. Arsenal are not going down. You guys need to let it go. It'll be absolutely fine. And here's the stat for you. I said it to Tom last night. If Arteta wins the League Cup, and I don't know if that game's taking place now, actually. There is an early kickoff tonight. If Arteta wins the League Cup, he'll be the first ever manager in English football history to win the first 3 domestic cup competitions he's taken part in. Which, for a manager under pressure, is not a bad achievement at all. O'Reilly's improving. That goal seems to have helped him out. Let's get through the press conference. I should probably send the assistant because I'm not actually reading them at this point. And now we've got to get revenge against Livingston and Alan Forrest, more importantly. I really hope Zaniolo becomes one of the world's best. Yeah, he's a good player. I hope I get a game with Chester in the Cup. Yeah, it'd be good to have a derby. I always love the derbies. Like the head coach when we got Dundee v United. I really enjoyed that. And I guess because we'd managed here with United as well, that was cool too. And of course, if Dundee United stay up in that save, which it looks like they will, hopefully, we'll have 4 a season then. So Motherwell are still winning. They're just keeping a little pressure on, but I think it's too far away now, to be honest. Billy Sharp was such a good player. I mean, I think I picked him for one of my EFL players of the decade. We featured on another podcast with the other lads, and it was one of the questions, and we said that. So, yeah, 53 and 82 for Scunthorpe. That's where I remember him first, because Scunthorpe, them 3 years, had him, then Gary Hooper and Andrew Keogh. Doncaster scored for fun. He wasn't unstoppable with goals at Leeds, but he got loads of assists, if I remember. He got like 5 goals and 11 assists or something bizarre. Forest, he's just scored goals everywhere. Forest and now Sheffield United. Notts County were the first team to play in our new stadium. That's a lovely little stat, that. Chester have got 2 managers, so they'll be fine. They're 2 good managers, though. Zaniolo has a really stinking attitude. That's so often the case, isn't it, for the ones that don't make it? It's quite interesting where we've talked to the youth coaches and that on the podcast channel, or players that have gone into that. It's like Gary McSheffrey the other week, talking about changing around players' attitudes. And some of the experienced players even talking about that in the dressing room. Which ones you know aren't going to make it because of that. The fans get really excited, but you know deep down they're going to blow it. It's a really interesting side of it to hear. So I'm going to bring in Luke Bolton again on the right. Otherwise, I'm going to keep it the same, I think. Smith's had 2 poor games in a row, so let's put Clark in at right back. And that's it. Into the game we go. Dundee United, Livingston. And we need to atone for the embarrassment last week. They've still got Alan Forrest there, and he's the one who got the hat-trick last time. So let's get the boys motivated. Fingers crossed. At least not get defeated. That's the main thing. If we can go into the cup final on a little unbeaten run, that would be great. I want them to stay, and we might not play them again in the league. No, it's always better to have a derby in the league, in my opinion. Brentford v Newcastle, still 0-0. There you go, so that's the early one. Imagine if Steve Bruce wins it. He'll be a hero in Newcastle after all of that. Brentford have to win tonight. I can't stomach the thought of Newcastle winning anything. Oh, Macca won't like what I just said then. But I appreciate your reasons for it. Brentford probably helped by being behind closed doors, to be fair. They struggled in front of fans against Blackburn, 10 men as well. Oh, we've scored a goal. It is 1-0 to Dundee United. Mark McNulty got it. I just saw it on the replay while I was catching up the chat, because it's about 10 seconds behind there. So I saw it just after it happened. So we've got some Christmas stuff coming up as well for the podcast and this channel. Had a good chance, which is brilliant save. Fair enough. This may be because I'm a Serie A bias, but this is my personal take. If Lazio don't get injuries, they will beat Bayern Munich in Rome in the first leg. I wouldn't be shocked. Lazio are doing really well. They finally found a replacement for Lucas Leiva. I mean, Serie A, we get to follow it a bit here because they show the games on Free Sports, which one of the few leagues you can watch on free TV. So, yeah, I think they're going to be a really good side. I think they'll be a close challenger for a few years now. It's just whether they can keep hold of the younger ones. It's always the case with the clubs outside Juve and Milan, isn't it? And the Milan clubs. Fuchs is injured, so Glenn Ray will come on for him. Not ideal to make the first half sub, but at 1-0, a solid defensive midfielder can't hurt. Who replies to comments on the podcast? Largely me, but everyone has access. Saliba is leaving Arsenal in January. Is that a confirmed or a... we think he is? Let's have a look. William Saliba. It's got to be for the personal reasons, hasn't it? Oh, it's only a low move, but yeah, the personal things this year, I can completely understand it, and he'll come back stronger for it. Here's a stat for you, Macca. Sterling Albion were the first British side to play in Japan. Went over there for a tour in the late 60s. That is a cool stat. I like that one. As Shankland puts us 2-0 up. Perfect timing as well. Good stats and good goals. Michele, when Milinkovic-Savic and Luis Alberto are on, there are no better midfielders than him. Milinkovic-Savic is a super player. I really like him. But the thing that's improved at Lazio is the defensive stoutness as well, which is great. Richard Arteta will get sacked soon. El Gaiman agrees. I think he probably will, but I don't agree with the decision. I don't think it's the best thing for Arsenal. That's my only take on it. It's been a good display here against Livingston. Let's get the lads out doing well again. But we can't complain about that performance. Tom, it's nice to see you've gone from laughing at Arsenal to defending them. I only laugh at them to wind you up when they're losing. I think Arteta's the right man for the job, but the boardroom nonsense there, and United as well, is why you're never bouncing back. But it's how fickle fans are, isn't it? It was Ollie out a couple of weeks ago, and now they're flying above Chelsea, who had a scintillating start to the season. So it's too easy to get fickle. What the problem Arteta's had is because he caused a miracle and won the FA Cup, is now everyone expects more from him when he's really got an average side. But you can't defend Arsenal generally because the way the club's being managed is absolutely appalling. Craig, I will agree with that statement. Pepe concentrates too much on the skill than the actual cross. You're spot on with that. It infuriates me that he tries to beat the same man 4 times. Yeah, Craig, bit like early Ronaldo, but if you can unhinge the talent behind it, there's no doubt he's a great player. Did you see Rafael Leao scored in 6 seconds? I did see that, yeah. So the kick-off glitch, as it was, being highlighted. Right, we're going to see this corner and then make the changes. Sporrell puts it in. Oh, Shankland, what a save. McCrory gets it away. That's stunning goalkeeping. Should have been game over. Maybe it's the coach in me, but with Arsenal, I'd play 5-3-2. I've said this before with the midfielders. With people like Xhaka in there, you can't play a midfield four. He gets so exposed. He gets in ahead of the ball. And when they play between the lines as an opponent, he can't get back, so he just commits the foul. With players like Xhaka in the middle and Ceballos, you have to play a back five. But he doesn't really have three good centre-halves fit, so he's in a real difficult position. Infuriates Arteta too, yeah, it does. I've always backed Ollie, got fed up with the Ollie. Yeah, we made a few comments on the podcast after win saying, where are they now? Just give the bloke time. He's got 3 or 4 years before the contracts of people like Pogba and Phil Jones that they had to offer a new one to because they weren't willing to invest. Those sort of things are going to be there for a few years. They've got to give him time. And don't forget, it took Fergie 4 years. God, if it had been the modern game, he would have been sacked after 6 months and United would be a yo-yo club still. In sort of mid-table of the Premier League, bouncing between Europe and relegation scraps. You've got to give these people time. Right, let's make subs on the wing as well. Chalmers on for Sporrell, who's been average recently. That's 4 subs made. And again, I'll just save the last one. Seems to be the common theme. It'll probably be over O'Reilly or Bolton. And we're looking at the players available, probably more likely O'Reilly. As Mitchell's throwing his headed away. Looks like they might get a counter here. O'Reilly's beaten to it. And Robinson's on the right. I think that's the first time all day I've caught up with the chat. Thank you so much for all getting involved. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for coming along. I do appreciate you spending Christmas week with me. I did think, to be honest, about doing a little stream on Christmas Day. Just for those who perhaps haven't, particularly with the announcements, who haven't got anywhere to go or anyone to speak to. So let me know if you'd like to see it. And I'll happily come and spend half an hour with you on Christmas evening. And then we can put the tree down in the background for Sunday. Long ball forward by Livingston. Pearson hoofs it clear. Shankland brings it down. It's turned into a great pass. It's got Chalmers overlapping on the left. Delivers to McNulty. Can't get on the end of it. Chalmers again. Shankland down. Brilliant strike. We'll make the last sub now. It will be Jordan Houghton. But he is absolutely clinical. Those front two. The big problem I have is Shankland won't sign a new deal. And he'll only have 1 year when we get to the summer. And McNulty, he's going to go back to his parent club. I hope with European football we can tempt them both back. But without them, we'll be in a mess next year. Liverpool are class. Yeah, they've done really well this year. If United can improve the defence, and that's the thing, they need another centre-half in. And again, Maguire's someone who in the middle of a back three can be good. You saw when he played on the left of a back three in Leipzig, he wasn't very good. When he played in... Was it Leipzig? I don't think it was Leipzig. And when he plays in the back four, he gets isolated. Moyes should have been given... Yeah, we said that on Sunday. Moyes should have been given more time. He was the right man. Not just more time, more backing. Because that squad was one that was in transition when he took over. And Fergie left because he couldn't do it again. And he was at the age where he didn't want to take the 2 or 3 years. So you've got to then give him time. But that'll be their biggest regret for a long time. Because they don't have a footballing person behind the scenes. And Ed Woodward doesn't know that. That side of the game. And that's why they've had this circus for so many years. Replacing David Gill was more important than replacing Ferguson. The same as at Arsenal. Replacing David Dean was more important than Wenger. But it won't happen now. Michael, I would say the way England is organised via the FA Cup and the league structure is far better than Italy. But the thing I like in Italy is that, you know, in the lower leagues, the Serie B, the way they do the playoffs with the how many points behind you were. I don't know if they still do it, but when I managed there last year in FM, they still did. That I loved. If you're within 10 points, if you're within 8 points, and these teams qualify, it doesn't matter how many. That's the sort of thing I like. Because you're rewarded for your points per game and for your quality over a season rather than your league position. Yeah, I still think... I thought Moyes was the right man. If Fergie says he's the right man, he's the right man. And he would have got it. It's just he had to clear out the experienced pros and build a club. And he's going to do that at West Ham now, so fair play to him. And they made the mistake as well, didn't they? Let's sack Moyes, get in a flamboyant name, and now they're back with Moyes, who's doing the better job. And they wasted 2 years in between. Yeah, FA Cup's best cup competition in the world. And that won't change. Even this year, look, Marine v Spurs, Stockport West Ham, Boreham Wood v a championship club. There's so many of them. Chorley are playing Derby, I think. Boreham Wood is at Millwall, Stevenage, Swansea. There's loads of them. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, I mean, good to hear that. Well done. And once you get fans back in the stadium with the takeover and that, it will go even more. It's the right club to have it with at the minute. And if you do it well and you're dedicated, you can't complain. Tom, you know the answer to that question. Stop asking ones that are going to make you sound good. I disagree, Craig. I think Moyes was the right man. Oh, no way is Maguire an 80 million player, but he's a good defender in the right system and with the right players around him. But I don't think Lindelof or Bailly or Phil Jones are that man. And it's such a shame because without injuries, Phil Jones was the answer. But it is what it is. It's a shame Smalling never got a chance as well. I feel Smalling could have been a good partner for Maguire, ironically. But everyone wants a modern footballer now. And Smalling has been brilliant in Italy. Shankland superb again. We've got one more league game. I don't know if we're going to get the cup final in. I don't think we are we? We've got 2 weeks to go. Hibs at home in a week's time. So I think it might have to be our Sunday special after Christmas. We'll all be half a stone heavier by then, but I think that's going to have to be the one. We might have to save it to Sunday. But let's not give up hope yet. There's still a chance. If we get there before sort of 25-2, we'll give it a go. Let's catch up with the chat again. Ancelotti's a brilliant man manager, not such a great coach. I loved his comments on the subs though, the other week. He's a proper fans manager, isn't he? When they were all moaning about having 5 subs so you could rest people and look after players' welfare. And Ancelotti just said, we'll stick with 3 subs and then rest them. I just thought it was absolutely brilliant. It was so blunt. Fergie was going to stay on at United after the 20th title, which resulted in persuading Rooney to stay. Yeah. But it wasn't going to happen in the end. He wasn't going to be able to rebuild that side over 3 or 4 years. The Serie B playoffs are rubbish. Sorry, the championships are way better. I don't mean that the playoffs are better. I mean that the system is a good idea. I really think it is. And I think in the championship it'd be brilliant because you could end up one year with like an 11-team playoff. And I think it'd be great. Oh, having a final at Wembley's spot on. And that will never change. The same for all of the EFL finals and the National League one now. Yeah, if Fergie went a year early and he would have. But he wouldn't have stayed for the transition. He wouldn't have. At 3 goal, the squad was a mess. But do you really think Moyes was right? Yeah. I think Moyes was the right man. I will stand by that. We'll never be able to prove it. But I'm so sure he was the right man given time. At any club, he can do a job given time. It's our fault for being so active in the chat. Yeah. Well, we might get it yet. We won't rule it out completely. But if not, it'll be a cracking way to start Sunday after Christmas, won't it? So I'll tell you what I wanted to look at. This guy in the reserves who's just got man of the match, Finn Malcolm. Where is he? There. Now, in the Dundee head coach save, he's listed, or is it in the Bangor save? One of the two. He's listed as better than Lawrence Shankland at 19 years of age. So I'm going to keep an eye on him. He's got massive potential. He has had a big injury in this save, which won't help him. But we'll see. Shout out to Smalling, one of the vegan athletes. Yeah, Tom would always want him, wouldn't he? Reece Bennett as well, who we interviewed on the podcast. He's another one. Let's have a look. It's not. I thought that was an offer for one of our players there. It's just slowed down very suddenly. I'm not quite sure why. We'll catch up with that in a minute. Smalling is better than who else? Than who they have. Yeah, you're spot on. Dylan playing Luton in the league now on FM. I'm glad we're still in the championship because the game's obviously made by a Watford fan and often we're underrated. You're the closest thing I've had to another Wrexham fan. Craig, yeah, you're supporting Luton for that game. Don't blame you. El Gaming's supporting Wrexham. It could get a bit feisty down here. It's nice for it not to be an Arsenal debate though. Craig, you disagree on Moyes. That's the beauty of football, but he should have been given time to prove it regardless. I think Moyes is an excellent coach, but when he is at a club that sees themselves as being trodden upon by other clubs, yeah, but the problem is he never got a chance to prove otherwise, really. He needed that year or two to get rid of the experienced pros who were out of contract that year. The likes of Ferdinand, who he had problems with, Vidic. It was a legendary squad he had to reorganise. And I just wish he'd been given time to do it. Tom, he is the one who plays FM. Not so much now, because he's obviously got his move to Carlisle, and bizarrely has started scoring goals galore there. But yeah, he's moved to Carlisle, and he's a really nice bloke. But yeah, he plays FM, he's got a YouTube channel, and a Twitch as well. But that's the problem with the Moyes thing. It wasn't him, it was the off the pitch. The Gill being replaced by Ed Woodward was a disaster, and still is. And he somehow lasted the 7 years. Luton are 22nd in my save. Oh, that'll be it then. It'll be this year. Should we see where they are here? North Wales, Bangor City. Not that I'm doing them justice at the moment. Let's have a look at where Luton are. We know Wrexham were in relegation struggles. Luton 19th. I've got a feeling, though, the way we're playing at the moment, a few of the players are going to get a little boost. Because James Collins has got his way back into the Ireland team. Lockyer, Norrington Davis are starting for Wales. Norrington Davis getting Premier League interest. Sluga starting for Croatia now. So there's no excuse not to give a few of these a bit of an upgrade. But then there's some who will probably get a bit of a dip as well. I don't know, it'll be interesting. And George Moncur's just started to hit form as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Just saw Kevin Horlock there, former Northern Ireland international, taking the Cliftonville job. Our favourite from FM20, of course. Yeah, West Ham and Everton both have huge histories, but see themselves being screwed. The biggest problem Moyes will have is he'll always be judged on that Sunderland season, which he should have walked from because he was mistreated hugely. Yeah, that's the only thing I will say about that, Craig, that I agree with you with, is that he should have kept one or two of those coaching team dotted around, like a Mick Phelan. But then you say that, that's the first thing Ollie did. He got Carrick to stay, he got Mike Phelan involved back at the club, and fans are still shouting Ollie out, aren't they? When they're flying in the league and not doing too badly. So I completely understand why he didn't. But from my point of view, I would say that United are going to be fine now. Henderson, I know he made a howler. I think he'll be number one. I just worry about Sergio Romero. I think he's probably the most reliable of the three. He never gets a game now. I played a Football Manager game years ago called Sir Alex Ferguson Player Manager. I think on PS1. Does anyone remember that? I don't. Let me have a look. I'm going to look it up. Alex Ferguson Player Manager. Excuse the keyboard. Alex Ferguson's Player Manager 2001. Ah, the front cover rings a bell. But we were too busy playing LMA and Premier Manager. I've got to say the graphics look worse than both of those for the time. Looks a bit like FIFA 99, to be honest. Don't know if anyone else played it. Let me know. Is it worth a go? I've still got an old PS2 here, so I could play it. Do you believe shouts actually make a difference in FM? Oh, some of them I think do, yeah. I'll be honest, I think they do. They have more of an impact in FM Touch, where you can't have a team talk with players, but it still does, I would say. Oh, Richard says brilliant game as well. Yeah, Ferguson's son played for Wrexham. Managed Peterborough 6 million times. That Sunderland team was awful. Yeah. But another one where behind the scenes they thought they were better with their recruitment policy. I mean, Didier and Dong, big money. Papi Djilabodji, big money. Strange. Really strange. Oh, I'll have a look out. I'm going to go and get that game. I'll get it delivered and see if I can have a go at it. I'll compare it to LMA Manager then. No, L Gaming, I'm not having Wrexham over Stockport. I've already said it, I've got a soft spot for Stockport. They're the other Hatters. They were a big club growing up, and I've always just had something for them. I don't know why. So, I think as we go ahead to next weekend, we're looking in good shape. Who are we playing today? Hibernian at home. They're having an awful season. We could conceivably send them bottom. They're only 1 point above Ross County. Fuchs is going to be replaced by Glenn Ray today, getting a league start. Duffy will be back on the bench. Butcher will be back on the bench for a Pere. In the lineup, I mean, the two right-backs are in poor form. I might give Pearson a game out there. He's actually rated better than both. So Matty Pearson's going to play right-back today. In midfield, I'm going to leave it as it is and the same up front. So Glenn Ray comes in, as does Matty Pearson. Both of the old Luton boys. And aside from that, we'll keep it the same. Duffy will get off the bench to get some fitness later. But let's go into the cup final with another win. A big important game this. It had 3D match engine and a fantastic game. Really like FM. Oh, fair enough. I'm going to give it a go. LMA did have a sort of 3D match engine from 03, I think. So 01 and 02, it was still like the sort of... It was 3D-ish. But it was that little thing with the ball trail. Whereas 03 was the first proper year of it. And Premier Manager, I don't even remember. Was it just commentary? Got it in a charity shop. I'm going to have to go and look online. I'm sure it'd be about for £1 somewhere. Wrexham are better than Stockport. I don't know. It's going to be tight this year between the two. Gordon Strachan at Hibs. We mentioned he's the man we took over at Dundee from in the head coach. So we've left Michael Duffy out due to injury. The tunnel interview's easy there. Let's see how we get on. Brandon Barker, the former Rangers man. And Hibs have got a chance, but they've given it away to McNulty against his former club. Up he goes into the box, cuts it back to Sporrell, to O'Reilly, into Glenn Ray, who's challenged, but he still comes out with a ball. Finds Shanklin to Bolton. It's basically a Luton right-hand side, isn't it? Pearson, Bolton and Ray. Barker's nicked it off him, though, and now Hibs are flying on the counter. Into the box to Boyle. Good touch to Nisbet, and the rebound's in off Stevie Milan. Not the start we were hoping for there. What's LMA manager? Oh, you've missed it. I guess the last LMA manager was 07, I think, which will probably mean it was before your time. LMA manager, 03, one of the greatest games. Me and Tom used to spend hours on sleepovers playing it. I remember him getting very frustrated once. I always say this. He was playing as Arsenal, his favourite club. And it froze when he was 4-0 up against Dinamo Zagreb in a Champions League game. It's the closest I've ever seen him to annoyed. Oh, what a goal by Sporrell. Back on terms. Lovely finish. Thoughts on Anderson being sent off by VAR for conceding a penalty which wasn't, and yet the red card later rescinded. It sums up the way VAR has been introduced into the English game. Wrexham v Stockport on Saturday. There you go. We'll find out the answer, won't we? The Sir Alex game could be the game you stream on Christmas Day. I'd love to stream the old games. We wanted to do PES 2 on the podcast and all of that. I haven't got the equipment to do it with an old console. I can't afford the big capture cards and that you need for it. They're like £150 or so. So, unfortunately, it won't be anytime soon. Long term, if I can make it part of my job, I'd love to. Because I'd love to get all the old games out. LMA 03, FIFA 05, Michael Branch up front for Chester. There's some cracking games there I'd love to get into. But unfortunately, I just haven't got the equipment to do it at the minute. Anything before Xbox 360, I can't do. I mean, if we stream on Christmas Day, we'll just come and have a chat. So we probably won't focus on games much. That's just really... We might even do a little half-an-hour Q&A. 3-goal supporting Wrexham again. Michele, I've seen Bruno Fernandes flop at Udinese, Navarra and Sampdoria. Never thought to imagine what he'd become. Well, that's the thing, is one week it's is he overrated, the next week it's is he the best player in the league or the world. Just think he's a good player who has on and off days. I don't think he's quite got the consistency yet. And it's not helped by the fact that he's having to create everything. He's not in a team of great players. As McNulty's got himself in, it's a lovely finish. 31st goal of the season in February. What an achievement. Oh, Tom, sorry, I've given away the secret. I can only apologise for that. I'm sure I've had my fair share as well. I won't give away all the other secrets of the Barcelona saves in FM06. It was before my gaming time. It was before your lifetime, I believe. Half time, we have got the lead again now, though. So let's just tell the lads to keep going. And then we've got a week off before the final, which by the looks of the timing will be the start of Sunday stream. So set your alarms for 10:30 on Sunday because you don't want to miss that. Celtic in the League Cup final. And then on Boxing Day, the day before, we've got big games from the head coach as well. And the same tomorrow. So brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Ravenite, that's the worst. Winning only for the game to crash. Even worse if you lose or draw when you replay the game. Absolutely spot on. It used to be the one thing as a kid that I would have tantrums about. We have tried to do PES. Yeah, exactly. it will feature on the podcast eventually if we get to that stage. Bruno's not overrated. He's inconsistent. That's the problem. At his best, he is one of the best players in the world, but he doesn't do it every week. And that's where it goes. As McNulty scored again, I mean, these front two, I can't put them into words. We have to find a way to keep them next year. And I don't care if that means breaking the wage structure. We need them here. Elgame, you were alive in 07, but Elgame in 07, LMA Manager 07 will have come out in 06, like the FMs do. So you wouldn't have been alive for the first ones. Oh, Elgame, you can't call him Tannadice. That's pushing it. Oh, no. Oh, no. 1 week to the cup final, but McNulty's got an injury. Oh, it better not be a bad one. This could change the season. It could basically lose us the cup final before we play it. Luke Bolton on the right will replace with Duffy. Let's keep a couple of others fit. Reynolds will swap with Pearson. Smith on at right back. Oh, that could be a disaster. And I'm now going to have to rest Shankland shortly. Yeah, admittedly, Bruno Fernandes really good. First goal on Sunday was great. Oh, yeah, of course, your own team fans are going to overhype players. You've seen Berkey annoyed with Arsenal and he doesn't even like football. Loose cannon. There's plenty of them about. Nicky Clark scored now, so this is the perfect time to do it. Let's take off Shankland. We can bring on Pere's not on the bench now, is he? Let's bring on Logan Chalmers. He can play up there. He'll do a job for now. At the back, now we've got a 3-goal lead. I'm going to rest Mengi as well. I've got Callum Butcher. Glenn Ray can drop in at centre-half. Butcher will go in as the box-to-box. And that's what we'll do for the last 25. Smith up to O'Reilly. We've given it away. Could be 4-2 here. You know my superstition on the tactical changes when we've got a highlight pending. Here's McGuinness. Watch this go in. I promise you, watch it. Gray into the box. Pearson away. Back out to Gray. It's going to end with a goal. Back to McGuinness. Oh, just over. I've been proven wrong. My pride will be hurt by that one. This controversial opinion from Michele. De Bruyne is overrated. Has not won international trophies or the Champions League. Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. He's a sensational player. But that's like the Harry Kane debate, isn't it? You can't say he's not a world-class striker because he hasn't won anything. And the same for someone like, I know Shearer won the Premier League but then didn't win loads because he was at lower league or lower reputable clubs. For me, I think Kevin De Bruyne is world-class. The things he can do with a football are stunning. It's like, you can't say Messi's not world-class because he hasn't won an international competition. So I'd say no. Belgium should have won a trophy. Yeah, I agree. But who knows? The Euros are soon coming. Gelhardt scored 12 goals already this season in September. Seems to be a theme in FM this year, doesn't it? It's just a striker going absolutely mad. It tends to be the advanced forward role from what I've seen as well. Even here, like, look at this. Nicky Clark off the bench. Should have had 2 if that wasn't disallowed. But McNulty's not as good as Shankland. But the advanced forward role seems to work. Kane got a Champions League final at least. But I don't know if we can say that. I would argue that De Bruyne is world class. Just from enjoyment of watching football and what he does. And domestically, the trophies he's helped win with City. Him and David Silva in that middle. Unplayable at times. Wales did beat Belgium, yeah. I was Euro 2016. I can't remember what game it was. It was 0-0. It was either England, Wales, or Wales, Slovakia, or Slovenia, whoever was in the group. I was in hospital because that's the weekend, Craig will tell you, where I did my first day of pre-season, double leg break and ankle ligaments. And I was in hospital that night. It was an awful reception. You pay £7.50 in our local hospital to get a day of TV. And the ward was pretty boisterous with various people. And I was watching with headphones on the football. I paid £7.50 and it was 0-0. I was absolutely mortified. I had to fast as well for like 17 hours because they didn't know if they could do the op that day. So, yeah, that was the worst day, I think. Yeah, De Bruyne, multiple league titles, multiple cups. Don't think we can argue too much. It's a tough one. It's a lot of an argument on what success is, isn't it? 3 goal, thank you very much. I won't be playing the cup final tonight, you'll be pleased to hear. But 10:30 Sunday morning, it'll be the first game. I'll give you 5 or 10 to get in. But look who's not going to play. Mark McNulty. Oh, that's gutting. We have qualified for the Europa Conference. Confirmation already because of the points in the league. Oh, I can't believe McNulty's not going to be playing. We can't get him on loan again either. That is a disaster. Mark McNulty's out and I think Celtic will win it. But we'll see if we can cause a shock. You never know. Get the Fergie game. I will do. And I'll give you some feedback over. I've got a week off in January somewhere. So I'll make sure I get it going then. I'd say Company is a legend hands down. But De Bruyne, I'm personally not a huge fan. I think they've both achieved huge amounts for that club. And again, Company didn't win a Champions League or an international tournament the same. So, we have to say it. I guess Company's had those moments, haven't they? The memorable moments. Torre, Silva, De Bruyne or Keane, Scholes, Beckham. Oh, I would say probably the latter. But only because Yaya Toure didn't have the same longevity. And he was a bit up and down form-wise. If you could find a third. But I don't know. Toure at his best was arguably better, like more of a game changer than any of them. So I don't know. It's tight, but I would say on longevity, you've got to give it Keane, Scholes, Beckham, and they've won everything domestically. Does the podcast have an Instagram? Not yet. Eventually, hopefully, once we're going back to football and doing vlogs and that. I don't know. Haven't you beaten Celtic twice in this save? I believe so, but we had Mark McNulty for those. So we beat them 3-1. Mark McNulty scored one of those. And the other Celtic games, we beat them 2-1 away. Mark McNulty scored the winner. So I don't know if we can judge it on that. So it might be a difficult couple of weeks. Gelhardt is too good on this game. He's by far my favourite player. Scored 4 against Peterborough. He's a good young player, to be fair. At his best, he'd be sublime. Treble winners. But that's the thing, El Gaming. Because of your generation, you've seen more blue in Manchester. For us growing up, United were the dominant force. Them and Arsenal were the two-horse race until Abramovich came. So it's an interesting argument. And it does depend partly on generation. I can understand all points of it. But I think because it is 2:45, I don't want to skip a week and then play the cup final. I will leave it till Sunday morning. So Sunday the 27th, our usual live stream. We will start with the double-header against Celtic, the League Cup final and then the Scottish Premiership. We'll have Kilmarnock, Aberdeen and Rangers as well. And then we've got the league split. And the next one will be the final episode of the season. So a bit of a longer first year. We've got Europe to look forward to. We've seen in League 2 now. All the national fans I've spoken to don't like Chester. I can't comment because I know it's a Wrexham thing. But I like both of them, as I've said before. So no problem with that. But thank you all for coming along this evening. Possibly the most active chat we've ever had. Possibly the most viewers we've ever had waiting and thumbs up at the start. If you haven't yet, please do chuck one on it. There's a full replay on the channel afterwards if you've missed it. But everyone, have a good Christmas. I'll see you on Sunday. There's loads of content on the channel all week. So please do check it out. Please do come and say hello. And I'll still be responding to the comments through the week. Thank you everyone for coming along. Thank you for your support throughout the last few weeks since the new game. And hopefully I'll see you soon. We'll keep up the chat on the Discord. And I'll see you on Sunday morning for the League Cup final. Thanks for watching.